purchase your tracks today.
What's up, everybody? For the Witachi here, you know what it is. Thank you all very much for tuning in. It is Blizzconline 2021 or 2020. It's 2021, but it's in replace of BlizzCon 2020. And I am here, and we are going to be watching Fridays, especially today, because this is like where all the deets come down. When you go on to the second day of BlizzCon, it's usually like Q&As, just like a recap of yesterday. It's just kind of the minor stuff. Also, what else is there? Probably the Streamer Showdown, a cool little mini fun game that they have. It's mainly just recaps of all of yesterday's content, basically all the release stuff that comes from the first day, and pretty much a couple of like side things. They usually have the artists go on. They usually have the whatchamacallit, the when you wear the fucking costumes, cosplays, all that type of stuff. So that's usually the second day. But the first day is usually all of the content heavy, basically, little episodes that they have. So I'm not 100% sure how they're going to be running this in 2021 for Blizzconline, but it's very, very going to be fun, hopefully. If there's any issues with sound, or just let me know about that. We're going to mainly be focusing on World of Warcraft content, and we'll eventually watch every single clip and episode that we can possibly find throughout the week. But today's focus is going to be on like World of Warcraft, Overwatch, Hearthstone, all that type of stuff. I will be streaming again live tonight, and basically every single stream that we have going forward, we're going to go ahead and watch an episode. So, for example, Diablo, StarCraft, all the other games that I just don't play much of, we'll go ahead and watch those on later episodes. But we've got, in just a minute, opening ceremony. We're going to go ahead and throw a star on everything that we watch. Yes, usually it's supposed to be for favorites, but I put a star on everything that I watch. I do this every single time I have a virtual ticket. I've only been able to go to BlizzCon once, and it was absolutely fun. But let's go ahead, open up BlizzConline, turn that down, and let's go ahead and open this up. I'm going to just turn it down on my end. There we go. Should be fine. Should be fine. You know what? Before we get into this, I want to see if it is fine. Before it starts. Because I do have it running in the background here. I gotta unmute. Oh, of course, fucking. You have to be live, don't you? Well, you know what's good? We've got, YouTube not working. Just gotta make sure it is working. Can't let you guys see the fucking codes, mate. Alright, give me a second here. I'm just gonna see if sound quality is okay before we start. Let's go ahead, open up BlizzConline.
That feeling of just knowing the game is right to you when you first lay eyes on it is such a great feeling.
Alright, we're good.
The thing that happens is you start to feel the
We're not missing anything, by the way, guys. Just giving you all a heads up. I'm refreshing. Go ahead and pause that. Let's go ahead and viewer activity and pause that, just in case I need updates on what you guys are all doing. Let's go ahead and open that back up. Again, this is the opening ceremony, so this is something that they've shown the past couple of BlizzCons, just to give you all a heads up.
Something bigger, I thought of something beautiful.
As an autistic person, video games give me a place where I could be in a world that
Gonna make sure one more thing is set up, because I don't want any issues when we go into this.
We would share the computer
Alright.
1 hour at a time. 저는 제 와이프랑 게임을 가장 많이 해요.
I'm really enjoying playing video games with my dad.
My children.
My little sister. That connection between video
Let's
games
react and let's have some fun together.
with each other.
It's about, I think it's from like 2 o'clock to
Games like the World of Warcraft
5:30ish.
people that I probably never would have.
I can honestly say I've met some of my best friends through playing games.
We have this connection that allows us to share our joys, to share our achievements, to
This is-
share our growth together.
Every time I'm able to achieve something, I'm able to
There we go.
make myself proud.
Killing
They've,
back in Warlords of Draenor was one of my favorite memories.
This is
I managed to
Warlords of
find
Draenor was one of your
one
favorite
hidden
memories. What are you
pylon
doing, mate?
With my one Mutilist, we beat
Everything should be good to go now.
Diablo. I was able to hit gold in competitive in Overwatch.
I had someone say, oh, I can't lose to a girl. And I beat that guy.
So I was able to slay this warlock as a little gnome holy priest, freaking out and screaming the whole time.
Well, that warlock must want to check out youtube.com/FTWitachiPlays if he wants to get good at the game.
A gente se sentiu muito, caramba, a gente conseguiu algo incrível aqui.
I killed the Witch King! I killed the Witch King!
然后夺冠的时候，现场的
Of course, opening ceremony's always got to be everyone's favorite like thing to watch. I won't talk as much while the actual events are going on, by the way. I'm just talking now because we've seen this before.
We've been married now for over a decade.
Those video games filled a void. They filled the friendships that I didn't have. There isn't a huge LGBTQIA+ community in my city. So when I was able to play a video game, I was able to start talking with people who didn't really care that I was a gay male.
But video games were my escape. When I was a teenager, my dad was diagnosed.
That's my boy right there. That guy's an
I
absolute
looked at video
beast.
games as a way to escape from that sort of reality. Everything happens for a reason.
That's the only one. This is the only dude I know out of everybody that they've shown so far.
I'll never stop playing video games.
He's the only one I know.
I imagine myself one day being an 80-year-old grandpa gamer.
Playing video games has shaped me. I don't think I would.
It's
be
so
who I
weird
am
not.
today.
My passion,
We
my
can't fucking
interest,
be
my
there, dude. It's
excitement,
so
they
weird.
evolve.
Video games opened for me the world.
And because of that,
I
I'm
got a BlizzConline, a Blizzard Entertainment email saying it's alive. When we cannot be there. I thought it said for cheating with us. Yeah, I was a part of that. I got my bots on lock. Oh, I'm a summoner for sure. Warlocks all day, every day. Alright, here it is. Opening ceremony. Blizzard Entertainment Blizzconline 2021. Oh my gosh.
Welcome to Blizzconline.
This is way more epic than I thought.
Celebration of 30 years of Blizzard communities and 30 years of Blizzard games. 30 years is so many years. And last year maybe felt like one of the longest of all.
This is...
But throughout the years of Blizzard
Dude.
Entertainment, from 1991 to today, many of us can associate certain games with milestones in our
This
lives.
is crazy.
Maybe you were a little kid the first time you played The Lost Vikings. Or
Are you
in
kidding
high
me?
school when you first played a Diablo game. Or maybe you met your partner while you were playing.
Well, first off, I'm assuming they pre-recorded this whole
That's the
thing. None of
awesome
this
thing
is
about
live.
video games. They give us experiences that are relevant to the time.
So they were able to do some editing, transitions, and all that type of stuff and make it a little bit seamlessly smoother.
Games are here for us during good
But while he's doing the intro, it's usually the same intro every single time. First of all, the setup is absolutely bangers.
Games are
This is
coming
awesome.
from
I thought they were just going to be in like rooms chatting.
with a connection.
I know they have the
sense
multi-million-dollar company, but I
And
still
while
thought they
many
were
of
just
us
going to be in
spent
rooms
most
just
of
chatting it up.
2020 in our actual real-life homes, games
Less
became
talking, let's go, let's
even
watch.
more of a place to get away, to be free from outside concerns, even if just for a little while. So, this is pretty weird. Usually, when we start BlizzCon, the opening call is to my favorite Warcraft faction, the Alliance.
What's up, Eli? Do you know when they're gonna do Overwatch? It's opening ceremony right now, broski.
Usually, I'd be speaking to 40,000 of you in person at the Anaheim Convention Center, and millions of you around the world. And
I've been to one Blizzcon back in 2013, and it was one of the most fun experiences ever.
But nothing about the last year has been usual.
It was really fun.
The pandemic
I recommend you guys go if you ever get a chance.
And for many different
I
reasons.
just can't afford it every year.
But if there's one thing that the last year has taught us, it's that being apart physically doesn't stop us from moving forward. It doesn't stop us from connecting with our player friends around the
This
world.
is absolutely, I'm
Diving
shocked.
in as
They put
warriors
work
and
into this,
heroes,
and it's freaking free for us, by the way, guys.
checking on each other as humans. It doesn't stop us from sharing our latest epic gaming story.
Okay, I don't know how these work. Yeah, this is opening ceremony, so everything's going on right now.
Games continue to unite us. Now, to be honest, I wasn't sure how well Blizzard could work from home.
Well, you
There are
guys
thousands of
banged it.
people, all needing to work together in creating our universes, games, and experiences. Never has it felt more true that it takes.
Also, for those of you tuning in, if you can't hear me over them, let me know so I can adjust the volume, but
the magic of
I'm not going to
creating
talk too much, but just in
isn't
case.
just tied to a physical location. It's tied to the people who work here, and I continue to be so proud of each and every one of them. Thank you, Blizzard. We create these games and pour all of our energy and heart into them, but it is you, the Blizzard community, that brings them to life. And that's
I remember almost every single part.
celebration of
Like, I've seen every virtual
the
ticket.
guild healers, DPS, tanks, innkeepers, Zerg, Terran,
I've seen every
Pro-
cosplay that they're showing too.
Blackwatch, Shimada, the heroes of Sanctuary and of the Storm. These next few days are for you, our Blizzard community. For World of Warcraft, we'll be showing you what's next for both Shadowlands and Classic. I'm sure you're all burning in anticipation for that one.
Burning Crusade, I know!
Hearthstone
Even though I'm not
is
really
getting
gonna
back
play
to
it.
its roots in a major way. We can't wait to show you how. We also have news for our Diablo community.
This screen in the
Some
background.
of you were
Oh
able
my
to
gosh.
dip your toes
I keep
into
talking
the
about
depths
it.
of hell in the Diablo Immortal Technical Alpha. I really enjoyed seeing players embrace the multiplayer aspect of meeting in town. We can't wait for more of you.
Thank you, Blizzard Entertainment, man.
So, only the beginning of the year, and already there is so much to look forward to, even though we can't yet be together in person. The Overwatch League
I feel the feels
is
coming.
kicking things off in spring, and we'll be watching closely to see if the San Francisco Shock can continue their championship run. World of Warcraft esports is back with the Arena World Championship and Mythic Dungeon International already in full swing in Shadowlands.
They're showing Overwatch in the
StarCraft
background.
2 and Warcraft 3 esports are going strong with our friends at the ESL Pro Tour. And qualifiers are already underway for the first online stop of the 2021
I play a lot of World of
Hearthstone
Warcraft, as you guys know. Overwatch, Hearthstone.
taking place next month.
Should I add some more
Before
Blizzard
we get
games?
too far ahead, let's take a look one last time to when times were a little simpler. In the early 1990s, the internet was a baby. CD sales had finally eclipsed cassette tapes. Cassette tape, it's a rectangle piece of plastic
With the little thingy in
tape
it?
inside.
Yeah.
And music would get recorded on, and sometimes you needed a pencil to wind it and make it tight. I know, it sounds crazy. We were all playing video games on Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, DOS, or Mac PCs. I personally was a master of config sys and auto-exec bat. So many simple things in simple times. If only we could relive them.
No! There's no way they're gonna release this. Are they? Are they gonna release that machine though? I'm capping one. I'm capping one. There's no way. If they release this, this is gonna be insane. I have those tapes in my room for my SNES.
Now we're talking. What a play!
I've played these games. I didn't really play them too much, but I've played these games before. This was like my brother's time of gaming. Lost Vikings! A lot of Lost Vikings games. Okay, now they're just speeding it up, that's why. Ah, you fucks. I thought they were going to release the actual arcade
Blizzard
machine.
Arcade Collection, featuring the Lost Vikings, Rock and Roll Racing, and Blackthorn. These are ports of the games.
But I think that the SNES ones are different. They're the ones that you blow in. Yeah, I was going to say.
All 3 titles in 13 different languages.
Tape cassettes you put into a tape recorder, like a cassette player, and also your car
We
had
include
tape.
very modern, cutting-edge functionality that wasn't available in the early 90s. Both saving and loading of games. And for those of you who purchased any Blizzard Digital Anniversary Bundle via Battle.net, you'll automatically receive the Blizzard Arcade Collection on PC today.
Let's go! Your boy's got that. I copped that.
Ready to hear about some other video games? Let's hear what's next for World
So I got the Blizzard Arcade Collection. Cool. World of Warcraft.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for
Oh,
joining
wow.
us today.
The transitions.
No matter where you are, World of Warcraft unites us all. Whether you're exploring the Shadowlands, classic Azeroth, or another part of the Blizzard universe, I'm glad you could make it. Because we've got a lot of good stuff to show you.
I hope so.
But first, let's start with some Covenant pride. Kyrian, take flight. Night Fae, let the hunt begin. Necrolords, to war!
That's my covenant, but
Let's party.
you can't really hype when you're in
Since the last BlizzCon.
a room by yourself.
And the thing that's really kept everyone going on the WoW team has been connecting with all of you. The bonds we forge with our guilds and family and friends in WoW are powerful and real. As WoW enters its 16th year and Blizzard celebrates its 30th anniversary, we're so grateful to
I've
have
been
the
here
most
for 16
dedicated and
years.
friendly communities in gaming. Let's recap the events in Azeroth. In WoW Classic, we fought an endless battle for South Shore and Tauren Mill.
I sadly
We
quit
together
WoW
to open
Classic.
the gates of Ahn'Qiraj and joined forces to take down
But I've been wanting to
Kel'Thuzad
get back
and
into
his
it.
floating citadel of Naxxramas. In Shadowlands, we helped our Covenant recover from the Anima drought, brought on by Sire Denathrius, master of the Vinthier and traitor to the Pantheon.
I beat
of
that
Death.
guy.
We survived the halls of Torghast and crafted legendary gear in our efforts to expel
Legendary, yes.
Denathrius
Torghast, no.
from his castle lair. But innocent souls are still wrongfully being sent to the Maw. They face an eternity of torment, and heroes like Anduin remain chained in its depths. The jailer continues to grow in power. He's preparing to break free from the Maw and complete his plan to unmake the entire Warcraft universe. And Sylvanas, you may be wondering what she's been up to all this time.
She's coming back.
Today, we're excited to unveil our first major content update for Shadowlands, Chains of Domination.
By the way, everything was spoiled yesterday.
Look around you. What makes you believe you're not just a weapon to achieve his ends?
Enough! Join our cause, or be made to
She's my favorite character in World of Warcraft.
Right now, you hold all the power. Make your choice, Sylvanas Windrunner.
So that was the end of the current patch. Now we're getting into the new stuff.
Despite all our efforts, the Maw continues to grow. What if Denathrius' treachery is irreparable? The Primus is lost, and Bastion cannot save the Shadowlands alone.
None of this should have happened.
Perhaps the Winter Queen could.
My Archon, a living soul, seeks an audience.
World of Warcraft cinematics, man. They're absolutely, probably the best game when it comes to cinematics.
Measures, one who has spent his life striving for justice. One who would give anything to serve his people. One whose heart is true.
Very well. He may approach. Step forward.
This is crazy.
My ascended have spoken of you. The king held captive in the Maw.
That prison could not hold me forever.
Why have you come to Bastion?
You have a key that I need.
You will release this soul from your grasp.
No. He is bound to me. Just as you once sought to bind your own brother.
What? Wait, I didn't know this. Are you kidding me? I'm shaking, boys. I feel the shivers right now. The hair be standing. He knew, but he can't. He doesn't have control of himself. He realized. I think the jailer allowed him to realize.
Performed its part flawlessly. 3 keys remain.
Oh wait, yeah. Sylvanas. Okay, never mind. I remember now.
Death was never meant to be changed.
So Chains of Domination said there's going to be a new raid, I'm assuming inside the Maw, where we're going to be facing off against both of them. I don't think the jailer will be around right away. But we'll find out. That was cool.
That is so intense. I know you probably have a lot of questions about what you just saw and what it means for the next stage of your Shadowlands journey. Later today, my teammates Ian and Jeremy will be telling you more about Chains of Domination in our Shadowlands update. Please check out the World of Warcraft channel to find out more.
Yeet.
Next, I'm excited to share our upcoming World of Warcraft charity pet program. We've heard a lot from our community about how much they love these pets and the opportunity to give to a good cause.
Damn it, I need to buy another
Along with
pet.
ideas to make the program even better.
That'd be cool.
So during this upcoming campaign, you'll be able to donate whatever amount you wish to directly support our chosen charity. Once donations reach our goal, everyone playing World of Warcraft will get a pet for their collection as a thank you.
Let's go!
Whether you were able to contribute personally or not. And to make this a fun challenge, if we reach a stretch goal, everyone gets a second pet too. And here they are. The first pet is Bananas. Literally. He was originally available to a select few back in Burning Crusade era, so we're excited to give everyone a chance to
I was gonna say.
And if we reach our stretch goal, you'll also get Daisy the Sloth. She's an all-new pet who'll hang around your neck when you
Oh,
need a
that's
hug.
so cool.
Your donations during this campaign will go to support the medical humanitarian organization Doctors Without Borders.
That's
Also
his
known
perfect
by their
situation.
French name, Médecins Sans Frontières, or MSF.
Sans frontières.
They're an amazing group doing
Sans.
important work around the world. We're grateful to have such a generous community, and we hope you'll help support this worthy cause. We'll be sharing the details about the charity pet program on the World of Warcraft website soon. So we've talked quite a bit about Shadowlands. Classic players, now it's your turn. It's my pleasure to hand off to my teammate, Holly Longdale. She's a longtime WoW player, a veteran MMO developer, and she's going to tell us what's in store for WoW Classic.
Burning Crusade, we already know, but do you guys want to see me play World of Warcraft Classic? Let me know. Because I still have a to-do list on my Warlock, but he's like only level 30 something, I think. I would hope.
Hi, everybody. First, I'd like to thank all of you who have ever been part of the WoW community over the years. You know, online worlds like WoW have been a huge part of our lives for decades now. As a dedicated MMO fan and a developer myself, I remember hearing that Blizzard was going to be making their own MMO. And I thought, well, I guess I'll check out that beta. And sure, we all call the game WoW. But really, wow. I could not believe I got bit by the MMO bug again. I was so excited to be able to make a Night Elf Hunter and be like that famous Dark Elf Ranger from the books that I loved. I have to tell you, Azeroth was, and still is, a place I love to live. Since last year, I've had the great honor to work alongside the WoW Classic team to bring these nostalgic experiences back to life for longtime fans and a whole new generation of players. As a fan myself, I've had so much fun in WoW. From the simple things like drive-by buffing or making friends on that long haul from Teldra.
What's up, Tarantula?
All the
I'm not gonna lie, I was
staggering.
like looking at her outfit.
When I jumped
It's pretty
blindly
bangs.
through the dark portal and was running through Hellfire Peninsula, heard this terrifying noise, and then saw the Fell Reaver.
I clapped Fell
Biggest
Reaver
rover
nowadays.
I had ever seen, and I was very glad I had feigned death in that moment. And that's the thing about WoW. These stories and experiences we all share keep us coming back time after time. With that said, I'm super excited to be able to share with you where our adventures are taking us next.
I would like for them to make a different game though for Burning Crusade. Like you can transfer your character over, or copy your character over, but like make it a different game. For the people that want to play actual Classic can continue to still play Classic.
You dare enter my realm.
But again, as you guys know, I already play World of Warcraft. If you want me to play Classic or dive back on into Classic, I'm more than happy. But I would like for them to, if they release, I'm gonna suggest it in the forums because I just thought about it. Because I haven't finished Classic. I haven't done my Classic experience. I got to level 36 and just, I don't know, I was like tired out. I would like to do Classic. And they should keep it open as an actual game. Release Burning Crusade, but allow players to copy their character from Classic to Burning Crusade. I'm gonna suggest it just in case that's not a thing.
World upside down. You are not.
Prepare. Ooh, this year. Wow. That's quick. Also, again, If for some reason you guys can't hear me because their volume is too loud or mine's too low, let me know so I can mix it up.
Awestruck at the chaotic magic alive in Netherstorm, the Draenei in Exodar, the Blood Elves in Silvermoon. I love playing them both. Do you choose to enlist the Aldor or the Scryers in your quest to fight the Legion? And of course, we can't forget gathering all your friends to fight Illidan at the top of the Black Temple. I can't wait to relive it all with you. Since the team first set out on their own quest to bring the original WoW back to life, we have learned a ton about what players are expecting from this kind of experience. We've also learned when to keep things just as they were and where we all might be open to some changes. We're bringing all these lessons into Burning Crusade Classic, with our primary goal to bring back the same feeling you had when you faced the Fel Reaver for the first time, or when you were digging through piles of Felhound poop. Of course,
I knew they would bring that up.
Without you, our incredible
Had to collect the keys.
Soon you'll be able to revisit Outland yourself when beta starts and tell us what you think. Later, all WoW Classic players are going to be presented with a meaningful choice for each one of your beloved characters. Do you want to move on into Burning Crusade Classic? Or do you want to stay in the original Classic era?
Let's go!
Whatever you decide, you can do it all with your one WoW subscription. Now, I know I've thrown a lot at you.
They've done it.
Don't worry.
They've done it. Let's
we'll
go.
Be getting into the details
They know
in
what's
our
up.
panel later today. So stick with us.
So they're two separate
We'll make sure
entities. They're
you
two separate
are
games, but they're allowing you to
prepared.
take your character over.
And now we're gonna hear what's coming up in Hearthstone.
WoW is free, but you can only go up to like level 15. Yes. It used to be 20, but Hearthstone now, right? I'm assuming this is Hearthstone. Yes. Okay, so I might do Classic. Burning Crusade was taking me out of Classic, but I might do Classic.
Greetings. We're truly excited to share with you everything that's coming to Hearthstone this year. But first, let's take a quick look back at the year of the Phoenix. We added our first new class, the Demon Hunter, and ventured into the ruthless Outlands. Then, we went to Skullman's Academy.
They're recapping, so I can chat here.
Dual class cards.
World of Warcraft, y'all already know I play a lot of World of Warcraft. Classic, Burning Crusade. Do you want me to play it? Let me know down below when this goes public on our YouTube channel, or just go ahead and post it in Livestream chat. Now Hearthstone, it's another game that I play. If you guys want to see me play more Hearthstone, be sure to subscribe, follow us on Twitch, and I wish I had more hours, but I play Hearthstone when I can, let's put it that way.
It's time to say farewell to the year of the Phoenix and see what's in store for Hearthstone this year. Welcome to the year of the Griffin. Over the last couple of years, we made big changes to Hearthstone. Throughout the year of the Griffin, we want to keep delivering fun, new experiences and make sure that the tens of millions of you playing Hearthstone are always excited to log in. First up, we'll be giving the standard format its biggest shake-up ever, with the launch of the Core Set later this year. The Core Set replaces the old Basic and Classic sets with a collection of 235 cards made up of some of the best from throughout the years, as well as 29 awesome brand new cards. And the best thing about the Core Set is that it's entirely free. So, there's never been a better time to get into Hearthstone. Here are 3 of Hearthstone's legendary dragons, reimagined to feel more up-to-date and competitive for modern-day Hearthstone. Ysera the Dreamer. You'll finally receive her full arsenal of dream cards right away. She's a nightmare for your opponents. Malygos the Spellweaver. He'll fill your hand with spells and is a powerful late-game play. Worthy.
I have Classic, but don't play it anymore. Haven't played Hearthstone for months.
Everyone's favorite Black Dragon.
Ooh. I wish they I wish they made a Hearthstone TCG, like a collection. Collector cards.
We'll also be launching a brand new format, Classic, where you can play Hearthstone as it was when it first launched.
The Classic format will be fully supported, complete with ranks and rewards using Hearthstone's original set of cards. So, if you want to relive the old school experience, then Classic is the place for you. With Classic revisiting the past, now let's take a look to the future and explore the first expansion of the year of the Griffin.
For a hero of the whole,
Barons?
all roads lead.
That's Barons, right? That's Crossroads. Let's go. I know my World of Warcraft. I know my crafts.
But the Barons wants to break you.
Please do not be some poem thing.
Axe must be sharp. Your wits must be keen. And your heart must be mighty.
Wailing Caverns? No. No, it's not. Razorfen. That was Razorfen.
Strength and honor. This is who we are.
Razorfen. The Crawl. Forged in the Barrens. Yeah, called it. Let's go. That was a pretty cool cinematic.
That's right. We're headed to one of Warcraft's most iconic locales, the Barrens. And we'll come face to face with the heroes that inhabit it. Starting with one of the Horde's most iconic and well-known characters. A fierce loyalist, one-time war chief that embodies the honor, loyalty, and spirituality of the Horde. Shadowhunter Vol'jin. Shadowhunter Vol'jin is a neutral legendary that allows you to either bolster your own board or weaken that of your opponents. And to celebrate the announcement of Forged in the Barrens, this card is available for free for everyone later today. So log into Hearthstone and claim your free copy of
I'm just waiting for
Shadowhunter Vol'jin. And as a bonus, we're also giving away the brand new 30 Years of Blizzard card back. Next, we have another hero of the Horde who is making his first appearance in Hearthstone. The legendary Blademaster Samuro, featuring the new keyword Frenzy. Frenzy activates the first time a minion takes damage and survives. In Samuro's case, this can be used to clear your opponent's board.
No.
Heroes of the Horde, like Samuro, are famous for their combat prowess, but others,
That's
like
nice.
Brawl, are known for their powerful elemental magic. Take a look at this new shaman spell, Chain Lightning. Chain Lightning is a spell in a new cycle of cards that rank up and become more powerful when you have 5 and 10 mana, ensuring that they're always useful at every stage in the game. You'll also notice that they're categorized as nature spells. With Forged in the Barrens, we'll be permanently introducing spell schools across the entire game, which enables a whole host of exciting new strategies. And don't worry, members of the Alliance will be featuring some of your most beloved heroes and locales later this year. But what I love most about the Warcraft universe is its amazing characters. And our final announcement is our most ambitious addition to Hearthstone yet. It introduces a brand new way to play with your favorite heroes. Hearthstone Mercenaries. Mercenaries features strategic RPG gameplay, where you build teams consisting of some of the most iconic heroes and villains from the Warcraft universe, including timeless characters like the infamous Sylvanas Windrunner, and Ragnaros, the elemental lord of fire. You can also expect to see some of Hearthstone's fan favorites, like the unstoppable Devilsaur, King Crush, and the ever-growing Gruul the Dragon Slayer. You'll lead them in battle through highly replayable roguelike missions, where the map is randomly generated every time you
They copied this from another
Each
game.
node represents a unique challenge for your team to take on.
I forget
heroes
what the
gain
game's
levels,
called.
New abilities, equipment, and can even evolve into more powerful versions of themselves. We're thrilled
One
to
finger
finally
death
show you
punch?
Hearthstone Mercenaries.
No.
It is scheduled to launch
No, it's not.
later
It's
this
similar.
year, and we'll have more to share with you down the road.
Spires.
Everything
The
you
Spire
see
game.
today is just a taste of what's coming in the year of the Griffin.
You guys know what I'm talking about.
Don't forget to
Something of the Spires. The Spire card game.
after the
They
opening
copied it.
ceremony, where we'll share more
Ascend the
details
Spires or something
on
like
the
that.
core set, the new classic format, Forged in the Barrens, and our plans for Battlegrounds and Duels, as well as our upcoming single-player content. I want to thank the team for their amazing work, and on behalf of all of us at
What's up,
Hearthstone,
Grumpy?
we want to thank the many millions of you who play our game. Your dedication and support is what drives us to make awesome updates and pursue ambitious and fun ideas. We can't wait to kick off the Year of the Griffin with all of you, and we hope to see you in the game soon. Next up, you'll get an update on all things Diablo.
This is a game I just don't play much of.
Hey everyone. Thank
But
you
if you
very
guys
much
want
for
to see me
joining
play
us.
it, again,
I am
as always,
so
post down below.
excited to kick off the Diablo segment of our show, and I am honored to be here on behalf of all of our Diablo teams to share the news and updates we have in store for you today.
We've got a lot of Diablo to cover, and I hope you'll agree with me that it's a great time to be a member of this community. All right, let's kick things off with Diablo 4. We first shared our game with you during Blizzcon of 2019, and we've been truly humbled by your response.
We've kept in touch through quarterly updates and sincerely appreciate the thoughts and valuable feedback you've provided as we unveil more and more of the game and share in its development.
After all, Diablo belongs to you as much as it belongs to us. Most recently, we teased an update to our campfire screen, and savvy fans, of course, understood that we meant more than just the character lighting and fire visual effects. That's right. Today, we're happy to announce a brave new soul joining the barbarian, the sorcerer, and the druid on this dangerous journey back to Sanctuary. A class is one of the most exciting things you can announce in a Diablo game. This one is especially exciting to me, as it's a re-envisioning of one of the first classes to ever appear in the series.
Let's have a look.
Gotta be a ranged class of some sort. Like, I know Diablo a little bit. It's gotta be a ranged class of some sort. Witch Doctor vibes? No, not at all. Not with that emblem.
There is justice within the light, but you have to be patient.
If you want.
Pray with me. May Akarat guide and protect me.
May Akarat guide and protect me.
May he shepherd my soul
May he shepherd my soul
and grant it mercy.
And grant it mercy.
What are you doing here? This is not the time.
But this is confession.
How great is these cinematics?
Have sinned. I was a thief who stole from those more fortunate. I strayed from your light and found my trade in the shadows.
It is ranged,
Murder.
but not spellcasting range that I was hoping for.
Job well done.
Best of both worlds?
I am a thief, a heretic,
That's disgusting.
a murderer. Father, will Akarat save me?
You mock our light. But those monsters were a scourge upon my front. answer to their prayers.
Then we are settled. And you owe me.
The name you see is... Thank the heavens for you.
Heavens? I assure you, Father, the heavens didn't send me.
I'm not happy with the rogue being introduced, by the way. They needed another melee, another ranged class, but they bring it in the half-breed. That was a cool ability. Wow. Feels more like Sylvanas vibes. What the hell? Nasties. But that's Diablo.
Just the sound of that ear getting pierced by the hook is so brutal. I feel like it's gonna haunt me for a long time. I've been a huge fan of the Rogue ever since the original Diablo. Even seeing them come back as NPCs and mercenaries in Diablo 2's Rogue Encampment served as a great bridge between the games. With the setting of Diablo 4 being a larger world than we've ever played in before, we're excited to show you not just what the successors to the original rogues in the series have been up to since the fall of their order, but also what some of the other rogues in the world of Sanctuary might look like. The mantra for Diablo 4 has been customization first, and the Rogue takes this to a whole new level. From the beginning, the Rogue has been an incredibly flexible,
already 45 minutes in,
able to adapt to any situation.
and we've only covered like 3 games.
You create the kind of rogue that you want to play. Whether it's an unrivaled archer modeled after the original Sisterhood, or a cloak and dagger rogue from the darkest alleys of Chaldeum, in Diablo 4, you will have the freedom to create the rogue that you imagine by customizing the looks, the background, and the playstyle of your character. Please stick around for our segment later today, where I'll be joined by other members of the Diablo 4 team to share a closer look at the rogue class, as well as some of the open world gameplay that we're bringing to the game. Spoilers, those severed ears are not just for show. But Diablo 4 is not the only Diablo game we're talking about today. If you're looking for an authentic Diablo experience on mobile, we've got you covered. Diablo Immortal has everything you'd expect from a AAA action RPG. From the visceral combat and epic loot to an all-new story, bridging the gap between the events of Diablo 2 and Diablo 3. Later today, you can join the Immortal team, where they'll talk about some of the things they've learned from their recent alpha test and what's next for the game. But that's still not all. We have one last bit of very exciting Diablo news to cover. When you hear us talk about the classes, the items, or the stories of the early Diablo games, you may have picked up on the absolute reverent tone we reserve for that golden era of Diablo. Maybe you share that love of the classics, and just hearing us talk about them makes you want to take on Mephisto or Baal one more time. Or maybe even for the first time. After all, some of our favorite moments happened a long time ago, and not just in Sanctuary years. If so, we have a special surprise for you today. Let's check it out.
Another cinematic!
Now you know what I seek, Marius. Were these the demons'
It may yet be your greatest moment.
Is it free? They're remastering all their old games.
Not even death can save you from me.
Okay, so they still have to do. Oh, on the Switch too.
After more than 20 years, the Dark Wanderer has returned. And once again, he travels east. Always east. Diablo 2 is a landmark game for Blizzard.
One of the biggest games of all time.
Resurrected is a full HD remaster of both the original game and the expansion, Lord of Destruction. It takes the 2D sprite-based classic that we love and brings it into the present in 3D, utilizing up-to-date graphical rendering and lighting technologies. It also includes modernizing all 27 minutes of cinematics, recreated shot for shot with the explicit intention of preserving both the look and the pacing of the original movies. Blizzard has a long history of games that we're proud of. And when we think about Diablo 2, we think about it as a definitive pillar in our foundation.
It's one of the biggest games you get of all time.
I need to think that some of you weren't even born when D2 was released, which makes it all the more important that we deliver an authentic experience wherever you play. We want everyone to relive their memories or experience the game for the very first time on their platform of choice. And so we're excited to bring Diablo 2 Resurrected to PC and console, along with cross-progression. And for those of you who are in love with the original and you just wish it worked more seamlessly on modern computers, you can bring back all of that nostalgia exactly as you remember and enjoy the game in its original 2D form, much like we did with StarCraft Remastered. Obviously, there's a lot to talk about. Later today, Diablo speedrunner Mr. Llama will host a roundtable with members of the development team on the dedicated Diablo channel. If you are a Diablo 2 fan, I encourage you to take a look. So, from Diablo 2 Resurrected, to Burning Crusade Classic, to the Blizzard Arcade Collection, it's a whole lot of looking back. And while we have teams dedicated to bringing
I feel Overwatch is next.
into your hands, it's actually a very small percentage of our developers working on these projects. Far more people are working on the future of Blizzard. And in addition to what we'll be talking about during the show, we can't wait to tell you even more about our plans over the course of this year and beyond. If you had asked us 30 years ago what gaming would look like today, none of us could have predicted the current Blizzard lineup of games. The advances in technology are one thing, but it's really what those advances have enabled that's even more incredible. If you think about the people who
RGB
play
lights,
and
y'all
the
know what's up.
communities that have grown up around them, the way people can connect instantly, no matter where they are in the world, the way people are increasingly able to express their identity and celebrate who they are through their favorite games, communities, and platforms. The explosion of things like streaming, cosplay, and esports. It would have been hard to imagine any of that 30 years ago. And at Blizzard, that is what excites us about the next 30 years. There is so much that we're working on. Some of it you already know about. The rest, we look forward to talking to you about it when the time is right. Just like the real world.
Wait, we've gone over World of Warcraft, Hearthstone, and Diablo.
StarCraft, Heroes of the Storm, Overwatch, and Hearthstone are diverse, expansive, and
I know StarCraft and Heroes of the Storm are kind
not only
of dead at the moment. Where's Overwatch?
Experiences that you've come to expect from us. We're also exploring different ways to express our world.
Because I do know they have Overwatch panels for Overwatch 2.
More places into them. And we aspire to continue to lead on priorities like accessibility and toxicity control, and to continue supporting causes that have a positive impact on the real world. We want to continue to bring those same feelings of joy and achievement that we all felt when we first defeated the Lich King, and beat Diablo on hardcore mode. Because when we geek out on those experiences with others, we can't help but see the similarities between us and feel what's possible when we play together. Of course, there are new Blizzard worlds that we haven't visited quite yet. And when we do finally unveil those games and experiences, our hope is that you will see in them what we do. That no matter who you are or where you're from, they are spaces where you can create new stories, forge new friendships, and make memories worthy of lasting a lifetime. And through it all, our mission statement of being dedicated to creating the most epic entertainment experiences ever, along with our core values, led by gameplay first, will continue to guide our way. So on behalf of everyone at Blizzard, thank you for being on this journey. For me personally, it is the honor of my professional life to serve you, and the honor of all of us at Blizzard to be the caretakers of the worlds that you play in. We are so excited for what's to come this year, next year, and the next 30 years. Now, what's coming next for the show? Well, it depends on where you watch. For those of you looking for an update on Overwatch, check out the behind-the-scenes look into the development of Overwatch.
Well, they're not going to do an Overwatch update.
Their dedicated channel right after the conclusion of opening ceremonies. There, you'll hear
They do have Overwatch panels, which we will watch,
new
though.
content, new features, including new
Also,
maps, hero missions, talent trees, and more of what we think will make
yeah,
Overwatch
StarCraft and Heroes of the Storm. There's no StarCraft's done.
Warcraft
Here's
and Hearthstone, you'll get a
Kinda
closer look
getting dead.
on their respective channels. And on the dedicated strategy channel, some StarCraft legends will be going head-to-head in epic competition. Once again, welcome to Blizzconline. Be good to one another. Welcome home. Before we kick things off, here's a little something from a previous BlizzCon headliner.
Hey, thanks for having us. We're Metallica. Thanks for having us at BlizzCon 2014. We would love to be there this year, but obviously can't be. So here we are, and this is for you.
These guys still bang. I think they've done a great job putting this together. Alright, so opening ceremony completed. We're now going to be moving on to Carbot, a 30th anniversary cartoon. Don't know what that's all about, but we're going to find out. As you guys can see, there's different panels: World of Warcraft, Hearthstone, Diablo, Overwatch, and the rest of the strategy games, which is basically going to be covering like StarCraft, as well as Heroes of the Storm. Heroes of the Storm and the rest of their franchises. We're gonna stay focused on World of Warcraft and then we're going to be into Overwatch, and then we're going to move into Hearthstone, and then whatever you guys want to see from there on out. But tonight is going to be focused primarily on World of Warcraft. Yes, I do like me some Carbots. So we will check out Carbot once it's live in about a couple of minutes here. So yeah, that's pretty much what the schedule is going to be looking like. Let's see. So basically how this is going to work is, for the next week or so, we're going to watch a panel at the beginning of every single live stream. So if you guys are interested in seeing some of the panels that we don't get to today, just go ahead and stay tuned for the rest of the live streams and we will get into it. But we are going to get into Carbot animations, World of Warcraft What's Next. I'm not going to do Diablo. I'm trying to do it on a schedule where I don't just jump into midway. So I think we're just going to stick with the World of Warcraft section. Which one is this going to be? Making the Wandering Ancient Mount. Okay. So I think that's what we're going to do. This is a rebroadcast of that. I love voice panels. So yeah, I think we're just going to do all World of Warcraft until the end, because it seems like that's an even schedule for the World of Warcraft panel. We'll then of course go with the wrap up. And then we will do Overwatch as well. Not right now. We're going to do World of Warcraft and I'm going to end the stream, come back tonight and live stream some more. But we will do Overwatch on the beginning of our World of Warcraft live stream. And we'll just basically watch a panel from here on out. I most likely won't watch StarCraft Legends. There's a couple things that I just won't bother watching. But most of the content we're going to go ahead and see and watch on this channel. So let's go ahead and see if we can get into Carbot animations. But if you guys got any questions, just go ahead and post in the comment section down below or live stream chat. Again, Carbot animations and then World of Warcraft What's Next panel is going to be the next two that we're going to be watching. And then we'll move on from there. They got a World of Warcraft deep dive, World of Warcraft Voices of the Afterlife, and a Mount episode. Yeah. And then, of course, again, I'm basically focusing on the games that we actually play on this channel. World of Warcraft, then Overwatch, then Hearthstone. When it comes to Diablo, StarCraft, and Heroes of the Storm, again, if you guys want to see me play them, let me know. But we will also watch all the panels anyways, because I do like to see what's going on with the rest of the games. So, let's get into Carbot. Let's go ahead and find the episode for that. It's probably going to be still on the Blizzard channel, so let's go ahead and get back onto live with these guys. A little bit of jams. Carbot animations at 3 o'clock, so it will be soon in just a couple of minutes, so they're probably just going to play a song for it right now, but let's go ahead and fast forward. So yeah, Carbots is going to be on this channel, so I'm going to stay here. And I'm going to be right back, and I'll catch you guys in just a bit. Gonna go grab a drink.
Your death will. Morta Vespa Gaia Inu.
I missed out on some Carbots. I just love this art style.
For your soul.
They're going expansion to expansion. Each villain from each expansion is taking the other guy over. Who's taking over Deathwing?
Your time has come.
Never mind. StarCraft is. Butterfly of Death, my G.
Strange.
Greetings to you. Seems you're ready for the real thing.
This is the only Heroes of the Storm bet I bet you we get all weekend.
Me? Oh, looks like we got an audience. I'm getting good at this. I'm in the groove.
Turret online.
You gotta love Overwatch. It's so dumb. It's so stupid. But it's good. That was cool. They did a great job so far presenting Blizzconline. They've done a really good job. Alright, that is done. So World of Warcraft, what's next? I'm assuming World of Warcraft's what's next is next, so I can...
Welcome everyone to our deep dive panel for WoW Classic. I'd like to start with some introductions with these fine gentlemen with me and myself. I'm Holly Longdale. I'm the principal producer for WoW Classic. A little bit about my background. I spent 13 years working on EverQuest. I started as a game designer and eventually became the head of the studio for the EverQuest franchise. That said, I've always been a WoW player since beta, so this is obviously a dream come true for me, and I'm thrilled to be here with you.
I'm Patrick Dawson. I'm the production director for World of Warcraft. I've been at Blizzard for 15 years now, and have been on WoW for most of that time. Avid WoW player myself, and really excited to open up that dark portal again as we all step through it.
And my name's Brian Birmingham, and I'm the lead software engineer on WoW Classic.
I've also been at Blizzard for 15 years.
I was like, just going to talk about Classic.
I spent about 3 years on Hearthstone as well, and then came back to the World of Warcraft team to work on.
This ain't what's next.
It's been a great joy to me to work.
This
on
is what's just getting freaking released again.
Yeah.
So earlier we announced, yay, Burning Crusade Classic is coming. But there's a lot more to it. Let's take a look at the features, because wow. I mean, wow, right? Wow. I was so excited by playing Draenei and Blood Elves. I played both, and I will say my heart's with Alliance. And I also took up jewel crafting on my Draenei Shaman. I wanted to corner the market. Just the whole notion of having items with sockets and just exploring that whole system. I'm also a bit of a...
She said Draenei Shaman.
So,
I saw some Warlock spells on
I
that shit.
completely lost my time for weeks in there.
The Burning Crusade, I remember being there back then. I mean, it was our first expansion ever. So all the new features was like this really cool moment of like what's coming next, what's going to happen, and one of the things that you know was pretty impactful to the game was Horde having Paladins and Alliance having Shaman. I mean, as an avid PvPer myself, I remember going back and trying to fight Shaman. I was Alliance back then, and just not understanding that class at all because my team didn't have it. So like I try to poly them and then be like grounding totem. I didn't know what that was. And it's just like, why are Shaman immune to it?
I started at 07 as well, which is funny enough.
No, I did.
No, you said they're cheating.
I understood polymorph druids, but Shaman, why? Like,
Oh wait, no,
understood Shaman a
06.
little bit better.
Very end of
Got
06.
some of the benefits.
But still, it's pretty much the same time.
Got to see totems being placed down on my side for once, and got to see the frustration of dealing with Bubble Hearth on the other.
Yeah, I remember when I was doing raids, we were always jealous of the Alliance having Paladins for Blessing of Salvation. Like, people would be pulling aggro off me, and I'd be yelling at them, like, wait for 3 Sunders! And the Alliance is just like, no, it's no problem, just go.
Yep. So, hey, I mean, we were upset raiding, like, Razer Gore without Earthbind. I mean, it really evened the playing field for both PvE and PvP, which was kind of cool. But there were a ton of new features and just abilities with this too. As we got to level 70 and got to experience new content, and new things. I remember one of my first experiences with understanding what it meant for designed by Blizzard, right?
Oh,
Because I was an engineer, right? I wasn't a designer. I was working on like the live ops team at the time, and I was playing my class, avid player of Mage, and I sent this long email to Tom Chilton saying like, hey, here's what Mage needs.
Dawson manifesto.
So it was a well thought out forum post. And what was in it was things like bring back invisibility, let's get a threat dump in the class. And I didn't even necessarily tie those two together, but he was like, that's a pretty good idea, let's get Mage's invisibility. And just knowing that skill was coming along with some other new stuff for Mages like the Molten Armor, the Ice Lances, was just really cool to see all this new stuff in Burning Crusade.
On the other side of that, I was really excited about Spell Reflect because I was really frustrated getting polymorphed and being able to like reflect that back on the mage.
As a mage, I was not excited for you.
I bet you weren't. And there were even some PvE encounters that had abilities that you could reflect back. So I remember that was really fun to kind of find ways to time that and use it as a defensive ability as well.
I was a hunter.
Mm-hmm. I'm a hunter
also
now,
a hunter.
actually. Yeah, I've switched.
But I remember just chasing Beastmaster and just DPS.
Yep.
That was it. That was the chase. Yeah.
Talking about that too makes me think of like the arenas and the arena system. That was a whole new world for us. With battlegrounds and the way they worked before, like the way the matchmaking happened. Usually, I was pretty competitive in PvP, so I would either get in there and stomp the enemy team, who was just there to be casual, or even though like we were a good team, we weren't like the best of the best. So when we ended up going against one of those teams, it was just like, well, geez, we're just getting stomped now. This is tough. Arenas gave everyone an opportunity to play against equal-minded opponents, right? So if you were a little bit more casual, you get the opportunity to play against people who weren't maybe so competitive. Or if you were like cutting edge, go for it. Like try to be the best of the best. And what was great about that is it really just inspired esport. Like that wasn't, we didn't design it for that. We just wanted people to have fun. But when we noticed like, hey, everybody's playing this, everybody's like competing in this, people are watching it, we had to embrace that. We started featuring it at Blizzcons, and we've been doing it every year since.
Yeah, it's really awesome. I think one of my favorite things to recollect was the exciting zones that you would travel through. One of my favorite memories was actually in the first zone, Hellfire Peninsula, and it was adventuring around in Hellfire Peninsula, going around and doing all those quests, and always living in fear of the Fell Reaper. Because you'd be out there collecting parts from like a broken Zeppelin, and you'd be fighting off your Hellbores, and then all of a sudden you'd see the screen start to shake, and like these thump, 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 and then and you're like, oh my god, I gotta run, he's right on top of me.
Sound still haunts my dreams.
Oh, I know, yeah, it's terrifying.
Even in life, it's just feign death.
Yeah,
Feign death.
yeah, just get out of here. And then the payoff when you later go to Netherstorm, and they give you the quest, they're like, could you get me a part from inside the Fell Reaver? You're gonna have to kill him. And you're like, that guy? Like that guy that used to terrorize me? And they're like, yeah, I think you could take him now. And that was just...
Favorite hunter ability, in my opinion, was Volley, especially playing in Wintergrass and still being able to hit Alliance hide behind a wall.
I snuck into beta. I got really lucky because I could see the construction sign for some of the zones, and of course I ignored it and went and explored. So I remember running through Blade's Edge and just seeing dragon carcasses and skeletons impaled in the environment, and then moving on to Netherstorm. I just was blown away, even from Zangarmarsh all the way through.
I hate
It
Zangarmarsh.
felt like its own world.
One of my least favorite zones of all time.
Just the delight of it and the epicness of it, and then you come up to Area 52. That's what I love about WoW, is you can have epic storylines and still find lightness in it. So I just loved it. I love it. I'm an explorer, so.
You know, for me, I remember Burning Crusade really opened up a new gameplay type for me. I became a collector in Burning Crusade, right? And it kind of started with the Outer Scryer rep. Because I got my Outer rep all the way up, and then I was thinking about switching to Scryer, and people were like, "You're insane! Don't do that." And I was like, "I bet I can," just to prove people wrong. And I did, and it was cool. It was really fun. But then I started doing other things. Like there were all these new like mounts and pets, and I went back and even got some of the older reps like Thorium Brotherhood and Winterspring. But then like things like Netherwing Ledge came out. The world just opened up for me in Burning Crusade to really start my collection.
Of course, we also had flying mounts, which I loved, and then decided to play with some friends on a PvP server, and was running around Hellfire, and Death from Above, which is likely just Pat.
Probably.
Yeah.
Were you flying around harassing people, Pat?
I was getting a lot of honorable kills.
So that's just a quick look at some of our memories for Burning Crusade, and that was 13 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So that code has been hanging around for 13 years. And we're not just doing a save as Burning Crusade Classic.
Oh no, it's a lot harder than that.
Yeah. So let's get into some of those details.
So one of the challenges has been that we don't actually want to ship on the old code. And the reason for that is because it's got a lot of bugs and difficulties with the architecture that we don't want to have to deal with. But we do want that old data. And we talked about this when we did the original launch of Classic, was how the data is really the thing that describes how the game is supposed to be played and what things are supposed to happen in it. And so we want to bring that old data and we want to run it on the modern code, the same as we did for Classic. And there's like 750,000 rows of data that we have to go through and convert from their old formats to their new formats. And fortunately, we have really talented engineers, and we run automated scripts that go through this. But even after we run these scripts, we have to compare them with with how it used to behave and make sure that we've actually done the conversion correctly. And then there's even some things that are
crazy.
more difficult this time, like the fact that we've made a couple of minor changes or bug fixes in the Classic data, and we want to make sure that we keep those as we're going into Burning Crusade. So we have to merge those changes with the changes that happened with the Burning Crusade originally, and make sure that we have a coherent set of changes that make sense to bring us from Classic into the Burning Crusade.
There's an enormous amount of time spent looking at, okay, this is how it came out now.
Mm-hmm.
We have a reference client.
Yeah.
That is the original.
That's right. We do use the old code for that.
Yeah.
So like we still have it. We just don't want to ship on that anymore. But we have like the old code with the old data, knows exactly how it's supposed to behave. So those things work together, and we can bring that up internally and take a look at it and say like, okay, this is how it was back then. This is exactly what it used to look like. And we do sometimes find things that are bugs we still want to fix. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times it will tell us like, oh, this thing is not a bug. This is actually the intended behavior. Or this is something we don't really remember right. There's a tendency to want to chase your own memory. Like, I remember it being like this. And it's like, no, it's not always exactly the way you remember it. Everybody has that kind of human failing, even us. And so a lot of times we'll have an argument about, I remember it this way. Well, I remember it this way. Let's go and check. We can look.
Well, another reason to ship on the new code It's really just the years of stability, improvements, and the fact that the world didn't look the same back in 2007 as it does today. Like there wasn't cloud architecture at that point. I remember I had the privilege of being on the live ops team where I got to see what all the servers looked like and how it was all architected. And to pull back the curtain on this a bit, the way it was is everything was its own like server, right? Like they didn't really talk to each other very well. So each realm had 11 blades on it. And these blades were just bare metal blades, and like one blade was for Azeroth, one blade was for Kalimdor, one was for Outland, and then we had some for instances. And you know, back then what would happen without cloud is you would try to request resources, and maybe a lot of people were running dungeons. And so it would give you back things like transfer aborted, instance not found. Oh boy, like we don't want to go back to those days. So now we can take advantage of things like the cloud and not have those resources.
I never knew that was why that happened.
Yeah, and so we're weaving all these threads together. We did finally get a build for Burning Crusade Classic. Super excited. When the team gets together, we're preparing for a playtest, and we go to create our characters, and we see this blood elf who, you know, he remembers the sun well. He forgot his pants.
Yeah.
So everything didn't work the first time?
What? I know.
Yeah, I did mention like we had to go through
Sabotage.
and check for problems in those conversion scripts. And so yeah, sure enough, what's going on here is that this guy thinks he's dressed, but he isn't, and you can see why he thinks he's dressed if you
Does
look
that
down.
happen to you a lot?
Only in my high school dress.
You can see if you look at his calves, you can see that he's got they're flared out because he thinks he's wearing boots. And the way this system works is we first set the geometry up for all the items that you're supposed to be wearing, and then we layer on various images that we call textures, and we use those to build up a single composite texture that's then wrapped around the geometry. But of course, in this case, when we were layering them on, none of the textures were assigned, so it just started with his naked body, and then was going to go layer on textures and didn't find any. So it thinks he's dressed, and so it's removed the underwear because it thinks it's put clothes on top. But there aren't anything there. They're all just completely transparent. So it's almost like the Emperor's new clothes. He's wearing invisible clothes, only in this case, that's really what's happening.
It's crazy. And then, of course, I wanted to try Draenei because that's where my heart lies. I'm an Alliance girl. And this Draenei looks to be heads above the rest.
That's not the Exodar.
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
It's Dunmorrow, right?
It is, and that's exactly the problem. It looks like the Draenei's too tall, but the real problem is that we're in the wrong place. And so, yeah, when you go to the Dunmorrow character select screen, of course, the camera's positioned.
Oh, because of it's gnome and dwarves.
And so it's about knee high on a Draenei.
And then water.
So the scaling was off.
Water and Hellfire.
Yeah, so
Go for a swim.
it turns out that Outland has a funny, unique feature that it doesn't have any oceans because the water just all falls off the edges and goes out into space or something like that. I'm not sure how that works in the game universe, but but yeah, there's no ocean there. But we had accidentally flagged it to generate ocean, so we ended up flooding the entire world with an ocean until we found that and turned it back off.
So through all of these processes, yes, we're obviously we're fixing what is broken, but also we thought it was a good time to start enacting what we call #some changes to gameplay and how things should work.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, like Classic, our guiding principle was no changes. The goal was to provide as true to life, authentic experience of Classic that we possibly could for the community. And we accomplished that. What was interesting to me is to see this vibrant community that embraced it and then said, hey, but we're not exactly the same as we were 15 years ago, right? And they're right. Like, the times have changed. The world has changed. And so some of those things that maybe were out there that were not great and were warts back in the day is not something that we would want to ship again. Like something that feels a little buggy or wrong or incorrect. So the idea behind this is let's provide what the Burning Crusade experience was without those warts.
This really, I think, illustrates the difference is spell batching. We actually had a lot of requests originally for spell batching in that kind of no changes charge, where they said, hey, I remember when I used to be able to have two mages polymorph one another and they would both end up polymorphed. And that's cute and fun, and I kind of like that. And so we said, okay, well, we can put that back in. But the system that causes that is, of course, that the spells are batched up and processed in these giant batches. But over the last 2 years, people realized that what that comes with is about a half a second of kind of built-in latency, where you push a button and it doesn't actually take effect for that half a second while it's waiting to queue up the other ones to go with it. And people were starting to find that frustrating. I talked to a lot of people who said they were excited about it when it first came out with Classic, but after they've been playing with it for 2 years, they're really ready to see it go, and we're ready to take it out too. So we're going to remove spell batching with Burning Crusade.
That's definitely great, because I remember like every 2 weeks I get a bug report, Vanish is broken again. And it was because of stuff like this, right? Like if you vanish at the same time a fireball's hitting you, it's going to pop you out, right?
Exactly.
Like, and so we were trying to do all these hacky solutions to it, but the real answer is just don't spell batch.
Yeah.
But we didn't have the ability to do that then, so glad we're doing it now.
Yeah.
You know, and another one that I can think of is just how
I've been learning a lot of stuff in this that I didn't know actually was an issue or was a thing back then.
Compared to today. So, you know, the rating community knows exactly what's going on, and they want a challenge. They want more of a challenge. So, you know, rather than always giving them like the last version of the boss, the final form of the boss, which maybe has been hit with a few nerfs, let's not do that anymore. Let's give them a more challenging version of the boss. Like, I'll give you an example of like Muru. Right, where the initial version of that boss had a lot of spell pushback, and so like that made it really tough to bring casting classes to that fight. We did fix that pretty quickly and change the fight to allow for that. Now that's a change we probably would incorporate in this, right? Like we don't want people to feel excluded or not part of being able to do a fight like that. But then probably a month or so after that, we nerfed Muru's health. That doesn't need to happen. Let's just keep it in the hard form. We can evaluate any changes we need to make after that, but yeah, it won't just be like, hey, final form, we're not even going to look at it. Let's call it a day. So.
Yeah. So how did your mage handle the pushback?
I just
it feels personal. Yeah.
No, I was the raid leader, so I got to choose who went.
The one mage allowed to go.
that was honestly that's one of my favorite fights ever in World of Warcraft. That was a really fun fight.
That's awesome. Another change that we're talking about making is along the lines of the PvP balance and faction balance is, you know, obviously with Burning Crusade, Paladins are introduced to the Horde and Shamans are introduced to the Alliance, and that was intended to be a balancing of the factions and let's, you know, make them even. And then they wanted to kind of keep a little bit of flavor of that faction identity, so they kept Seal of Blood on the Horde and Seal of Vengeance on the Alliance. It was intended to be equivalent power abilities that were just slightly different in flavor, but in retrospect, Seal of Blood was just so much better. And so one of the changes that we are going to make is we are going to give the opposite faction's seal to the other faction, but we're going to do that at max level. So we keep just a little bit of that faction identity, where Horde will get Seal of Blood at level 64 on schedule, and then get Seal of Vengeance at level 70, and similarly Alliance will get Seal of Vengeance at level 64, and then their equivalent, Seal of the Martyr, at level 70. Another thing we want to talk about is arena teams. When it first came out in Burning Crusade, the arena team system only let you have the same number of players on your team that was the size of the bracket it was for. So, for example, a 3v3 team could only have 3 players on the team. So if someone was like sick or unavailable one night, you couldn't play. And that felt really frustrating. So we're definitely going to go with like the last version of that, where you could have twice the size of the bracket on your team roster, so that you had alternates you could swap in and out. And
oh, I remember that.
As long as anybody had participated in, I think, 30% of the matches, then they got the full credit for the week of participation.
Wow.
Personal ratings versus team ratings?
I think that came later, and we're also considering whether or not we want to do something with that as well. Because another thing that was problematic about arenas was the way that the ELO
What's up, Grumpy?
And so we're talking about whether or not we want to move forward with converting that to something more like the modern MMR system, so that it isn't
I forgot
as
that.
punishing to people in terms of like waiting hours for a match at the highest levels and things like that.
And another change, we're going to give players access to Blood Elf and Draenei early, so that before we actually open the Dark Portals, you'll have a chance to level those up. That's definitely not something we did originally.
I remember I had a friend who was really frustrated that the rest of us were all running around in Outland, and he was like, I'm still back in Wetlands. What is going on? When can I play with you guys? So yeah, I'm really glad we're doing that.
Yeah.
Doing that with pre-patch?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Yep. Very cool.
Yeah, pre-patch will come out and you'll be able to go start your Blood Elves and Draenei.
And then content. So we've got some phases happening.
Yeah. So the content phases that we got coming are exciting. We're gonna start with Karazhan and Gruul's Lair and Magtheridon's Lair. And we want to start with just that released because we found with Classic that people really enjoy that kind of gear progression, and that's where all the tier 4 gear is with those raids. And we want people to have an opportunity to level up, catch up to their friends, and all kind of go through these things together. So as we unlock each chapter, we want to make sure everybody's had enough time to be part of that chapter. And the next chapter after that will be phase 2.
Well, that didn't work in Classic for me.
And Tempest Keep. Then next we move on to phase 3, which is Hyjal and the Black Temple. And the reason that's a change is, of course, originally Hyjal was available from the launch of Burning Crusade, but nobody could really get in there because of the way the attunements work. So we'll unlock that as a later chapter alongside Black Temple. And then that'll go with Arena Season 2 at that point. And then Arena Season 3 will come out alongside Zulaman with a little bit of catch-up gear for anybody who's taken that long to catch up. It's another smaller instance, a 10-man. And then finally, Phase 5 will be Sunwell and Arena Season 4.
It's been a very busy year.
Yeah, it is. It's an expansion with a lot in it.
Yes.
A lot in it.
And so we spent a lot of time talking about Burning Crusade Classic and Burning Crusade, which is exciting. We're very excited about it, but there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot coming, and we want to walk through how this is going to materialize.
Well, yeah, really the question is, we have a diverse player base where people have a lot of different wants and needs. And how do we get there? How do we get to the Burning Crusade? Well, the first group of people that we wanted to make sure that we were serving well is those people who do want to go to the Burning Crusade. We feel that most of the community is interested in this. They're going to want to do this. We want to make it simple and easy for them. So how are we going to do that?
As we said earlier, you're going to be able to make a choice. So we'll talk about and explore these choices in some detail, and I'll give you some examples. So to start with the current servers you're on now, Classic Live servers, are going to become what we're calling progression servers. And what that means is the servers that are live now will always unlock any expansion we release. So when we get to our patch day, you're going to be presented with a choice. Do you want to continue on into the Burning Crusade, or do you want to move to Classic? So in that space, you're going to do that for every single character. So for my example, I'm on Warm Rest Accord. So I've got a level 60. I am definitely taking that on through to Burning Crusade, but I've got a couple of mid-levels that I know I want to move with my friends. Those are characters I level with my friends in Classic, and I want to continue that journey with them. We want to make it as easy and seamless as possible to just get right into Burning Crusade, but there are options.
That's awesome. I'm excited to hear that. I know there's a lot of my friends, for example, who maybe didn't really play Classic when it first came out, right? And so now they're behind.
I stay on one server.
Crusade. This was, for a lot of people, their favorite expansion that we've done. We want to make sure that those people are served too. And one of the ways we could do that is provide a boost to people who are interested in coming back, that maybe aren't interested in doing the classic WoW experience, but really want to hop right into Outland as quickly as possible.
Yeah, so the team, we spent quite a bit of time discussing it because we want to make sure we respect the time of the people that have been playing Classic for 2 years. But also, we want people to be able to enjoy Burning Crusade if they loved it the first time and maybe miss Classic. So we are going to offer a level 58 boost for purchase, but it does come with some restrictions. So it's going to be 1 per account. It's not going to be usable on Blood Elf or Draenei. It'll have some dungeon blues. It'll have level 40 mount skill, no professions. It's the basics, basically your Outland starting kit.
That's cool. That's a really great way to jump into the game for sure.
Yeah, I like that.
I'll be looking forward to that. Look, I know a lot of people came back to play WoW Classic.
I'll let you know on Discord.
That's all they ever wanted. They're like, you know what? Burning Crusade, that's awesome. I'm sure.
I'll check it out probably tonight or tomorrow.
For WoW Classic, what do they get to do? What's their options?
Yeah, that was really important for us too.
Yeah.
So we had all sat down and discussed like how we should frame this. So when we get to our patch day, which is prior to the Dark Portal opening, when I said before, like, I'll go back to my example for Warm Rest, we will be launching Classic Era Realms at the same time as we do our patch, and you will have that choice. So when you make the choice to go to Burning Crusade Classic, or you make the choice, like on my example, my level 40 Druid, I want to move that character to Classic Era. And what Classic Era means is that those particular servers are going to stay in that era forever. So that is going to remain Classic till the end of time. it's never going to unlock expansions. You'll be able to make that choice for every single character. Do you go on to Burning Crusade, or do you choose to go to Classic Era? Let's say, you know, you're behind the times a little bit. You'll still be able to have that choice. We haven't locked it to a time window. You're not going to miss the boat to Era.
Choice sounds awesome, and choice in WoW is something that's meaningful. It's always been meaningful.
Yeah.
And I think it's something that's important when we look at the community, that you're going to choose to go to the Burning Crusade or you're going to choose to go to Classic. You know, some people may not be comfortable with that choice. And while we think that choice is important, we also recognize that there are folks that are going to want to play both, right? Like, yeah, see,
right here.
You have some stuff left to do in Classic that you wanted, and you want to keep that character in Classic, but you also are interested, that same character wants to raid with your friends.
That's exactly.
So what does that look like? How do we make that happen?
So we're going to actually offer a paid service to let you make a copy of your character. And I know, like, a copy is a big deal. So like you said, like, this is something we don't want to make just an automatic choice for everybody. But I know that for me, it really is going to be like that pull to go to both places. So I want to be able to say, like, you know what?
I'm gonna finish my Classic character at one point and make a Burning Crusade character.
Go to Burning Crusade with that character. And
I'm gonna have separate characters, so I don't have to worry about having to pay.
I'm really excited to go to Karazhan. I want to see my hunter go through Karazhan, but if I'm missing like a couple pieces of my tier 3 set from Naxxramas, I still have an opportunity to go find a new guild there and go through Naxxramas again until I finish that set.
We're going to be spending a lot of time communicating these details. So even as much detail as we're giving now, it's very high level. There's going to be a lot more detail to come, so keep an ear out. But with that said, so Pat, when's all this happening?
Oh. Soon.
Yay!
So yeah, this is something that, you know, is important to get. People are still playing through Naxxramas. We want to make sure that they have enough time to do that. But what we are looking at, this will be happening in 2021. For sure, we're committed to doing that. And what we're looking at is starting the beta rather soon. So hopefully that beta will go up and we'll get that running. The community can come and participate, help us out. We'll start to hear some feedback on the things we've talked about today. If there's any adjustments we need
Naked
to make,
Blood Elves, let's go.
Beta period for that to happen. And then we'll get that out to the players so you can all enter the Dark Portal.
Yay!
Yeah, it's exciting.
So any final words?
Yeah, I just talked about the beta, and you know, I will say just to the community, you all have been so instrumental in making Classic the success that it has been, and you will be equally instrumental in making the Burning Crusade a tremendous success also. So please get in that beta, play, give us your feedback. We want to hear all about it. So enjoy, welcome, and let's have some fun.
Yay!
Yeah, and it's been the highlight of my professional career to work on WoW Classic and have the support and love of this community. It is really special to me, and I'm really excited to be sharing this with all of you in the Burning Crusade.
Yeah, and for me, I've been playing Classic since it launched, and I wasn't working at Blizzard then, and it's changed my life, obviously. So from me and the entire WoW team, we want to thank you for bringing Azeroth to life for us. So we will definitely be seeing you in game in whatever flavor you choose. And until then, stay classic.
Alright, what is next? So Diablo What's Next is at 3:35. So, okay, World of Warcraft Deep Dive is where we're going to be heading to next. Where is the deep dive? Oh, it didn't start till 3:35. Is it 3:35? Yeah, it is. We'll wait until 3:35. So we've got, hold up. So members of the World of Warcraft development team discussed the latest content coming to Azeroth. Sadly, it's that latest content. It was Classic. Delve deeper into World of Warcraft with the developmental team, which I hope is current World of Warcraft. I've seen this before, which is why I'm not really watching it. Trying to figure out the rest of my schedule.
Christian,
been ages.
So yeah, we'll do Making of the Wandering Ancient Mount, Afterlife, and then the wrap up. To wrap up day 1. All World of Warcraft stuff for day 1. And then tonight we will watch, I think, something from, we'll probably do behind the scenes of Overwatch tonight. But let's go. Yay! Alright, so we are getting Shadowlands content
Hey everybody.
now.
So excited to be here with all
It's
of
the
you
boy.
to celebrate 30 years of epic entertainment experiences from Blizzard. And of course, out of all of those, the one that's nearest and dearest to my heart is the World of Warcraft expansion, Shadowlands. And that's what we're here today to talk about. The development experience for Shadowlands over the course of last year was unforgettable for all sorts of reasons. But it's also something that really has taught the team, taught all of us, a lot of lessons about World of Warcraft and how we can make the game better for all of you going forward. Because Shadowlands wasn't just the product of our development team's efforts last year, it was a product of your efforts as well. It was the product of a conversation between us, the development team, and all of you, the players, the community, who inhabit this world that we're the custodians of. The beta for Shadowlands started earlier than any beta for a past expansion that I can recall. And over the course of last year, we had tons of folks in our beta giving us
Thanks for
feedback
not inviting
on
me.
bugs.
That was the
It
first
really
beta I never got invited to.
Just in the community in general, following developments, following updates.
I mean, I
watching
got an
YouTube
invite, but it
videos,
was too late.
chiming in on Reddit threads, on our forums, on social media, everywhere else, letting us know what was exciting, what was concerning, what you didn't understand, what you were worried about, what you were happy about, and more. And all of that helped shape Shadowlands, and I could not be more proud of where we ended up. And it's been amazing seeing everyone jumping into this new world that we've crafted together.
Sadly, I'm at work now, so I'll rewatch the rest when I can. Thanks for this. It was fun. Thank you very much for dropping by. Much appreciated.
Forward into 2021.
And I will catch you around again. Thank you.
How we build World of Warcraft going forward. So, as we're here today talking about the next major update, what you're going to hear about shortly is where we're headed in terms of the world, in terms of the story, in terms of these epic characters we've just been introduced to, major villains like the Jailer and Sylvanas. What's up with Anduin anyway?
Sylvanas isn't a villain.
Less, however, about systems. We have tons to share there, but the way we need to work on our systems, as we've learned, is, of course, by first seeing how they're playing out in your hands. We couldn't really plan what we were going to do with legendaries or where Torghast was going to go or what was going to change about soulbinds without having the experience of millions of players dealing with those systems and letting us know what you think. And so I am pleased and excited to say that when we look at our systems, unlike in some past expansions at this point, we're not seeing anything that needs to be completely overhauled or replaced. What we see are solid foundations that are in many cases in need of iteration, and upon which we can build a structure that will sustain us throughout the entirety of Shadowlands to come. So that's a conversation that's going to come when our public test realm goes live, and we'll have lots more information to share with you there. Now, what we are going to talk about, and boy do we have a lot of exciting stuff for you, is the first major content update for Shadowlands. Let me turn it over to my colleague, Jeremy Fiesel, who can tell you all about it.
Hi everybody, I'm Jeremy Fiesel. I am a designer on WoW, and it is my pleasure to get to introduce to you today a first look at what's next for World of Warcraft Shadowlands. So let's talk a little bit about what we've accomplished so far. The champions of Azeroth have stepped foot in this otherworldly space known as the Shadowlands, the afterlife for all souls from Azeroth and beyond. Within the Shadowlands, we have met new allies, and we've fought a ton of new and interesting new enemies. We've joined covenants, and we've gained great power. And in this time, we have been able to deal with some of the immediate threats to our new covenant allies. We have taken down the Gorm and the Drust in Ardenweald, and the Forsworn in Bastion, and ultimately, we've been able to add some stability back to each of our new allies' home zones. Within the Shadowlands, we have also been able to help out many of the denizens that are undergoing this major lack of anima by sending anima back out into the world, reinvigorating both our allies as well as the military forces of each of our covenants so they can take the fight back to their enemies. And as a culminating element to all of these things, we've been able to take out one of the jailer's main lieutenants, the traitorous Sire Denathrius in Castle Nathria. And yet, behind all of these things is the looming, dark and mysterious figure of the jailer. So what do we really know about the jailer's dark designs?
It's not really mysterious. We've seen him many times.
We know that the jailer is in charge of the Maw, a dark and forbidden place that we can't spend even a moment too long in before getting unceremoniously swept out by the jailer's forces. We know that the Maw has had this huge influx of souls, allowing the jailer to gain massive amounts of power, as well as anima, thanks to the actions of Sire Denathrius. This has allowed the Maw to grow in great proportions, something we've been able to physically see just by looking out past Oribos into the darkness. In addition, every time we have tried to step foot into the Maw, we've been watched unmercilessly by the eye of the jailer.
Yeah, I hate
We've
this.
never been able to get a solid foothold there. We have spent some time in Torghast, the Tower of the Damned, and we've rescued some very prominent souls. But again, we've never been able to get a solid and consistent foothold there and make any real progress. The jailer remains this mystery of the Shadowlands, and exactly what his dark designs are for the afterlife are still unknown. This is the story we will be investigating in our first major content update for World of Warcraft Shadowlands, entitled Chains of Domination.
I hope they give us all the information on what to expect.
We're going to be very centered around the jailer's forces and his plans. What do him and his champion Sylvanas have in store for the rest of us? And how does this influence our allies in Ardenweald, in Bastion, and elsewhere? The jailer will make his first attacks, showing his hand, and we'll be forced to defend our brand new allies as we see what the jailer's designs for the Shadowlands truly are. Let's take another look at that cinematic showing what fate has in store for Anduin in Chains of Domination.
Look around you!
What makes you believe you're not just a weapon to achieve his ends?
Enough! Join our cause, or be made to serve.
Right now, you hold all the power. Make your choice, Sylvanas Windrunner.
Despite all our efforts, the Maw continues to grow. What if Denathrius' treachery is irreparable? The Primus is lost. Bastion cannot save the Shadowlands alone.
None of this should have happened.
Perhaps.
This cinematic's huge, by the way.
My Archon, a living soul, seeks an audience.
A mortal?
A king. By all our measures, one who has spent his life striving for justice. One who would give anything to serve his people. One whose heart is true.
Very well. He may approach. Step forward. My Ascended have spoken of you. The king held captive in the Maw.
That prison could not hold me forever.
Why have you come to Bastion?
You have a key that I need.
You will release
release this soul from your grasp.
No. He is bound to me, just as you once sought to bind your own.
Get clapped. She gets taken down way too easily.
The vessel performed its part flawlessly. 3 keys remain. Then they will see death.
Sylvanas is very skeptical in this situation. There's no way we're gonna kill it. I feel Sylvanas, man. Blizzard's gonna do it.
There's a lot to unpack there. But as you can imagine, we're not going to take a strike like that sitting down. We're going to call in the forces of all 4 of the Shadowlands covenants. For the first time in years, they will all come together, now reinvigorated by anima and by our actions within the Shadowlands, to take the fight directly to the jailer. Within the Maw, we will uncover brand new, never-before-seen areas. We'll also be fighting off some new and never-before-seen enemies, of course, and naturally be uncovering some brand new Maw-themed.
So we're going into the Maw.
Our return to the Maw includes not only a chance for us to push back against the dark designs of the jailer in areas that previously were very forbidding for us, where we really weren't able to spend very much time there. Having a secure, solid foothold with all 4 covenants allows us to push back against that oppressive force. We'll be able to stop the Eye of the Jailer in its tracks, exploring areas that we were unable to explore before. And our mounts will once again even hear our call within the Maw. The Maw will not only include some areas that we have seen previously, now with our new allies of the Covenants changing things up there, but also some never-before-seen sections.
So the Maw being a shit zone is actually going to be a more welcoming zone.
So in the finale of that cinematic, you saw that the jailer had sent his chains off out of the Maw and into the darkness. What he found there, that landmass shown there at the very end of that cinematic, is a landmass known as Korthia, and it makes up the largest new section of the Maw. Korthia is an ancient space that was lost in the in-between. It has its own strange creatures and wildlife that inhabit it, but it's also inhabited by some of the characters we've previously seen in Oribos, including the Attendants and the Protectors, and some of their city structures. And very similar to Oribos, it is filled with mysteries, the likes of which the Shadowlands has yet to uncover. It is these ancient mysteries that the jailer is truly after, the secrets of this strange group that we've only barely hinted at, known as the First Ones. Heading back into this area will allow us to explore all of these new sections, entertain new content, meet new allies, and face off against new foes. And in addition, we will also see some brand new rewards. Some of the new rewards we'll find within the Maw include this Maw-themed undead horse, and a Maw hand mount that is actually a giant severed hand of domination that you'll ride on the wrist section of in a really creepy and cool manner. And of course, there will be Maw-themed battle pets to collect as well, including your very own minion of domination. But our true purpose within the Maw is not just to collect battle pets. That's just a part of it. The true purpose of bringing all 4 of the Covenants together within the Maw, of course, is to be taking the attack directly to the jailer's doorstep. The central area where the jailer has holed up with all of his main minions is going to be our focus here, as we raid the Sanctum of Domination.
Which I know Sylvanas is a part of.
Will be a 10-boss raid.
Yep.
And you'll finally be able to face off against the terrible Terror Group that I'm sure has kicked you out of Torghast more times than you want to mention at this point. You'll be able to take all of your allies and take the fight directly back to it. We'll also be facing off against the creature that is the actual eye of the jailer and figure out really what is the jailer's eye here. Those of you that were fans of the lore of the Titan Keeper Odin might have some interest in that particular fight. The jailer's inner sanctum, naturally, is a place where some of the worst souls were sent for the jailer's personal torment. And we'll be seeing some of those souls here as well. Really looking forward to hearing who you think will show up in the jailer's personal torment sanctum. Of course, any raid that features minions, servants, and soldiers of the cold dark like this one is going to have to feature our old nemesis, Kel'Thuzad. And finally, the culmination of the raid. At long last, we will be taking the fight directly to Sylvanas Windrunner, the Banshee Queen herself. The finale of this fight is going to change the future of the Shadowlands. But we're not going to spoil that for you today. However, can't wait for you to see what happens at the end.
Well,
but the
she
Sanctum
doesn't
of
die.
Domination is not the only sanctum of the jailer. We'll be seeing additional updates to Torghast, the Tower of the Damned, including the unlocking of brand new, never-before-seen wings. These wings have a brand new art kit, as well as new floors and new floor layouts, and should feel like something you haven't seen in Torghast up until now. You'll be facing off against brand new foes with dastardly ways in order to stop your ascent, new traps to trip you up, and of course, to help us fight against all of these dastardly minions of the jailer, brand new game-changing powers will be available as well. Moving on to additional updates within Chains of Domination, fans of the Operation Mechagon Mega Dungeon from our previous patches will be happy to learn that we are once again bringing back the concept of the Mega Dungeon. A Mega Dungeon is an 8-boss dungeon, epic in scale, and always has some unique and interesting loot that you can't find anywhere else. The Mega Dungeon for Chains of Domination is going to be focused around the enigmatic traders that we first met in Oribos, the Brokers. The Broker Mega Dungeon is a large broker trading city with portals, an auction house, and various different broker cartels that have made it their home. We're going to be learning more about broker culture and meeting some new and different kinds of brokers that we haven't seen up until now. This is an 8-boss dungeon, and in Chains of Domination will be available as Mythic only for now. Within the Broker Mega Dungeon, we will be facing off against brand new broker cartel members, including dastardly broker assassins and 4-armed broker guards. The second half of the dungeon, as we start to exit the broker trading city, will feature a heist section, as we chase a broker that has stolen an artifact and plans to use it for his own purposes. As we chase this broker through the heist section, he'll take us through a number of different portals that take us to a lot of different, very varied locations where we fight a number of different bosses. One of these fights, of course, is against none other than an infinite pirate dragon. I trust that needs no explanation, so let's move on to the rewards. The rewards of this mega dungeon include things that we will only see within broker culture, some very special broker pets, including a broker-themed cat. We can capture some of the rats that scurry around within the broker trading city, and we'll get to see one of the pets that the brokers actually use as a currency, these strange worms that they found on another world and have scintillating
Everything looks so
eyes that are
bougie.
gem-like. It's sort of like a living sign of your wealth for the high ends of the broker cartels. You might be able to purchase one of those within the dungeon or fight an enemy in order to obtain one of them. And we'll be able to obtain the broker's special and interesting disc mount, which they fly around their trading city with. In addition, there's going to be a dazzling array of different weaponry for you to collect as well. Now let's move on to updates to some of our Covenant systems. We've been fighting hard to gain renown with our Covenants, gain soulbinds and additional conduits. We'll be expanding upon a lot of these systems. Some of the ideas that we're thinking about include adding additional conduits, different conduit types, and expanding the soulbind system. Our general goal here is to give you more options in terms of how you specialize your character within your Covenant and how you gain additional power levels. We're very early on in the ideation phase here, and we'd love to hear from you. If you want to take to the forums and tell us how you would like to see your power grow within your Covenant. Patch 9.1 also brings with it flying, something that we mentioned a while back, and we're sticking to it. There's no rep grind associated with flying. You simply just need to continue completing activities for your Covenant, and your Covenant story chapters will unlock flying for you automatically. But we're not simply going to be unlocking flying in Chains of Domination. No, we want to do everything heavily Covenant themed because it's all about working for your Covenants. So completing the flying will also unlock a new specialized flying mount specific to your Covenant. For the Kyrians, activating Anima to the Eternal Forge has allowed your stewards to once again produce this powerful flying centurion that hasn't been seen in ages.
The black and purple one looks cool.
Activating wild seeds with Anima that were thought lost to the drought will reawaken our powerful ally in the Wolf Serpent.
They're kind of like Cloud Serpent.
From the Maldraxians, the Necrolords naturally go to their
I
natural
feel this could be boring.
throw a saddle on one of the giant corpse flies buzzing around their backyard, and send that on into combat. There's one thing that you do know, they're not going to be afraid of the stench of death. And for the Venthyr, activating Anima within Revendreth has allowed us to empower these Stoneborn brutes, giving us Anima-infused Stoneborn allies as our brand new flying mounts. But that's not
That
all.
white and red,
Continuing
though.
to advance your Covenant
That color
and
scheme's
renown
nice.
also unlock a set of cosmetic armor. Cosmetic armor sets can be worn by any armor type, from cloth to plate, and they can be mixed and matched with any of your transmog outfits if you want to take just pieces of them, producing a variety of different unique outfit possibilities. The cosmetic armor set for the Kyrian is stylized after a Kyrian courier who might be rushing across the fields of Bastion with a missive. It's very lightweight, it's very airy. For the Night Fae, your cosmetic outfit will be themed around the Forest Defenders and includes many natural wildlife elements, including the horns
I hope
of
the
great
Maldraxxus
snake
one looks
and the
cool.
leaves of the various flora around Ardenweald. As you can see, the colors here are actually themed after the seasons as well. For the Necrolords, we went all the way back to the Warcraft 3 initial idea of the Necromancer in this classically inspired Necromancer set, updated with
Let's
Necrolord
freaking
colors.
go.
Everybody who's a Necrolord will finally get to
Let's
also
go!
have a little bit of Necromancer in them as
We
well.
got something
And
good.
finally, for the Venthyr, no Venthyr transmog set would truly be complete without
That was
some
nice.
finery,
That was nice.
just waiting for the next Venthyr fancy party to break out. Venthyr players will be able to obtain
Oh, we got the
these
best for
fancy
sure.
outfits for whenever you need to head off.
We
for a
flexing.
ball. Chains of Domination will also herald the beginning of Shadowlands Season 2, where we will be seeing the addition of a brand new Domination-themed affix for Mythic Plus, an item level increase across the board in terms of available item levels that you can pick up by doing just about anything in the Shadowlands. We'll also be seeing the beginning of PvP Season 2, and something special in this PvP season that we're looking for is an honor talent refresh. The idea here is to take a look at some of our unused or underutilized honor talents and freshen them up a bit, change things around in terms of the PvP meta.
Warlocks are gonna need
We'll
a huge
also be
change.
seeing the introduction of seasonal rewards. These include both brand new colors of the Gladiator and Mythic Plus achievement mounts, as well as our new Vicious mounts. In this case, the Vicious mount is the Gorm. The Gorm was already pretty vicious, so slapping a couple of pieces of armor on that and sending them out into combat was a natural thing for the forces
I still
of
need to
the
get my
Alliance
spider.
and Horde to do. Alright, let's take a second to recap everything coming at you in Chains of Domination. First, we've got some major story quests, including a lot of the main characters of the Shadowlands that are centered most specifically around the designs and plans of the Jailer and his attacks on our allies in our covenants. We will be taking revenge by taking the fight directly to the Jailer in the Maw and forming a permanent presence there with all 4 covenants. We'll be exploring some never-before-seen sections of the Maw, including this new area known as Korthia and its various mysteries. We will be taking the fight directly to the jailer himself in the Sanctum of Domination raid, which has the final boss as Sylvanas Windrunner. And we'll be making updates to Torghast, including some never-before-seen wings, floors, creatures, and powers. We'll be introducing a new mega dungeon themed around the
Seems like a
brokers
decent amount of
floating
content.
over Trading City, with new bosses to fight there and some very unique loot to obtain. We're going to be expanding upon the Conduit and Soulbind systems and adding additional choice and power to your presence within your Covenant. And alongside that, we'll be seeing some brand new Covenant rewards, including Covenant-themed flying mounts and Covenant-themed cosmetic armor sets, both of which will be available in a variety of different colors to collect. And finally, we'll be seeing the launch of Shadowlands Season 2 and everything that entails. Thanks everybody for checking out our Shadowlands update. We've got a lot of really cool stories to tell still here in the Shadowlands, and we can't wait to get this content into your hands. From everybody on the World of Warcraft team, we hope you enjoy Chains of Domination, and we'll see you in the Shadowlands.
Alright, so next up is going to be making of the thing. Some mount thing. And then we got Voices of the Afterlife, which I believe ends at 5:30. Which we'll probably watch tonight. We'll probably end it off right now with making of the Wandering Ancient Mount, which I believe ends at about 4:10, it's about 10 minutes, and then we'll just go ahead and come back tonight and watch Voices of the Afterlife and see what else we can do.
We decided to do the community mount because Shadowlands was right around the corner, and the main theme of Shadowlands was player agency and player choice. So this seemed like a great opportunity to engage the community and let them choose the next mount for the World of Warcraft. Basically what we did was we came up with 5 ideas, and we've actually invited all players
Which one
to
did
vote
I choose?
on the one that they liked the best. It was interesting because we actually had a lot of internal debates about whether we would provide concept art for these pieces or not. I think we're all very glad that we didn't, because the artists in our community really engaged and came up with some.
I think it was the spell tome that I chose.
As the lead art producer for World of Warcraft, I work with a team of 3 other art producers, and together the 4 of us are responsible.
Because the Wandering Ancients is just so plain and boring. We see those in the game all the time.
When the Wandering Ancient was chosen, I was given the task to bring it to life. First step in the task was to get together a reference board. I looked at fan art done by the community. I collected reference from past iterations of Ancients. That actually was like a huge base on where I began, especially if it's an asset that is, you know, a rehashing of something familiar. We've seen lots of different type of Ancients, but we've yet to see one that you could ride on, and so it seemed to make sense that if we were going to make one, it would line up with the pantheon of past Ancients. So we have Ancients like the Ancient of War, the Ancient of Lore. Their look aesthetically fits their purpose, and so looking back and researching that and seeing that is what helped me kind of inform where I went from there. Once I have that reference board put together and I take a look at it, I start drawing real small. I look for a shape that is kind of a good base to work off of, and then I'll start to work in more specific details as more of the larger shapes start to make sense. I wanted it to feel like a natural grove that a player may stumble upon, and then they just take a seat on this conveniently saddle-looking root system, and then suddenly it uplifts and the character's surprised he's found himself on an ancient.
That's kind of cool, but still, it's still boring compared to the other choices.
It's just all it is a blueprint or a guide. From there, I open up 3D Max, I start modeling it. I ended up keeping a lot of the foliage that was in the original Ancient because a lot of that stuff was already there. And then there was a couple major parts of the creature that had to be created from scratch. So that would be like his main torso and his head and the tree. And for those, I used ZBrush to kind of sculpt out a mesh to use as a base to retopo a low poly model that would be acceptable for the game engine. Finally, for the texture, I used 3D Coat. It's a great, powerful tool. Anybody who wants to do hand-painted textures should definitely look into using it.
When rigging starts to build the rig for the animators, we talk it over with the designer and we decide to figure out what the best kind of topology is for better deformation for the animators to get a more lifelike capture. Deformation is basically how your skin moves on the bones, so the geometry itself gets attached. As far as how your arm moves or how your skin moves when you articulate your wrist, your elbows, beard,
so
ears,
complicated.
you want to kind of get a general sense of how the head is going to turn or how the elbow is going to bend and get a better understanding of how it's going to deform. After that, you add controls for the animators so they'll be able to move those bones without having to worry about what's underneath the hood. They can just go for the visual look where they have the controls and animate just like a puppet.
After character art and rigging had finished with the model, they passed off to animation to breathe some life into it. The Wandering Ancient was a bit of a unique starting point. We had animations available to us from 16 or 17 years ago that really helped capture the spirit and personality for the creature. We wanted to use those as foundations to build upon, and with the updated rig, we were able to go in and add new motion and life on top of this creature. We do this by a process called Keyframe Animation, which follows the rules set by traditional animation in the past. We're able to use 3D software to use the rig and model to bring personality and motion into the character. Animation is really drawn from inspiration from the real world. Watching creatures and animals, how they move, you pick up these little things you might not think of. So it's really important to study the movement of nature and other humans to really figure out how your animation might better sell the motion and physics behind it. A lot of creatures and characters in World of Warcraft don't exist in the real world. For this situation, we like to film ourselves for reference. It helps us get in the mindset and feel the personality of the character or creature and really helps sell the motion that they might use.
Crazy how they freaking come up with this stuff. This is for one thing in the game.
To look at the animations that the art team has already made and get familiar with the personality of the creature, with the material types that they've used, how fast is it, how does it move, and then I can start putting together sounds that will help reinforce that. So what is it made out of? Well, in this case we have, obviously it's a tree, so he's got his creaking wood elements, he's got his shaking leaves, but he's a creature that's sentient, he has a personality, so what would he sound like? What kind of vocalizations would he make?
Just basic walking animation.
So working with Glenn on the Ancient was awesome. Glenn has defined so much of the sound of Warcraft over the years, and he's already contributed his voice to helping to define what these creatures have sounded like in previous iterations. So knowing that we were going to make a newer version of it for this mount was a cool opportunity to have him jump in and add his vocal layers, knowing that it's maybe a little smaller than the other Ancients that have been in WoW in the past, and it's maybe a little more inquisitive, a little friendlier.
To help with the vocal layers, I'm going to do a creaking layer as well for the idols and longer ones. So.
One major tool for sound design is using layers to kind of composite together a coherent sound. So in the case of this huge tree creature, he has layers of leaves rustling, layers of branches moving as he shifts around. He's got his footsteps that are built out of a thud, the tree trunk itself kind of shifting and creaking and groaning, and then layers of his vocalizations as he's kind of making little idle sounds. So all of that comes together to create this one coherent set of sounds, but it's actually built out of a huge number of individual parts. It feels like a big organic creature where every time he moves, every one of his footsteps, his overall movement, there's a lot of variety there.
One of the ideas that came up was the changing of the colors of the leaves with the seasons.
I thought it was really fun to have these little extra Easter eggs, I guess.
Nah, that's cool.
And it really
that makes up
helps
for it.
Bring the character's story and personality to a more unique place.
The team also added a little caterpillar to the top of the tree as a nod to the caterpillar that did not win the contest.
Oh yeah, the grub. I didn't have any part of that. That's actually all John. He did it himself.
When I had initially pitched the concept to the team, Kelvin Tan, he suggested, hey, why don't we put something like, I don't know, maybe like a little caterpillar or something like that. So that actually ended up being, for me, one of the more kind of standout features for the mount, because it almost looks like the caterpillar himself is in control of the mount, kind of sitting back.
What I would like to see the community take from this is to see how much, emotion and love was put into it. Most artists here are also gamers and also WoW players, so it's one of those things where there's
That's a nice monitor, by the way.
Players that are with the community, that are part of the community, that are just as involved in this as the community is.
So hopefully the first time you summon this mount, it's an awesome experience. That the visual and the sound just feel really rewarding, and it's a super cool thing to hear. And the first time you do the mount special and see its cool animations and all the sounds, and you start riding around the world and hearing the different little idols and sounds that it makes, I hope that matches the level of enthusiasm that people had for seeing this thing and all the cool fan art people made for it.
Continuing to support the game, continuing to be passionate and excited for what we do. It's really a big part of what keeps me going to continue to work on this game. It makes me just feel super humbled and excited to continue doing what I do, so.
I'm looking forward to it. Well, that's gonna be it for now. I have to kind of go to work, but I will be back. We will be continuing watching the rest of these clips and panels, so stay tuned. Again, we're gonna watch one every single live stream, and if it's a short one, we might watch two. But I'm gonna want you guys to go ahead and let me know after we finish World of Warcraft Voices of the Afterlife. What do you want me to watch next? So stay tuned, team. Catch you all next time. Peace out.
Purchase your tracks today.